Welcome to International Business Environment. Studying businesses from an international perspective is vital for the students who want to work across cultures, international boundaries, and want to develop a global mindset. Why studying international business environment is necessary? I just want to mention here the example of Swiss watch market. Once these companies were highly successful, but in 1970s the industry got collapsed. The reasons were Japanese companies were making headway into the market, and another reason was the evolution of quartz watches. And in just a 6 year span, the employee base declined from 90,000 to 30,000. Hence, what was the reason that the companies did not analyze the environmental dynamics properly? The same thing you can relate with the domestic environment. You must be aware of some names that were existing in some time but now they don't exist. I want to take here the domestic example of Atlas. The company was in the full operation few years ago, but recently the gates and the operation shuts down. What's the obvious reason? It's the cheap imports, lack of working capital, lack of government support, and increasing competition. So these are the obvious reasons that the company shut down their operations. Hence, it is very important to understand the environmental dynamics properly. One another example is the change in the globalization to deglobalization patterns. 3 decades back, India also experienced a shift from deglobalization to globalization, along with privatization and liberalization reforms. But recently, everybody is experiencing a shift from globalization to deglobalization. Every country is going for the protectionist measures like US, UK, Brazil, and India. These leaders are going for the populist principles, and the people around the world are also welcoming these steps. So everybody is going for the deglobalization. And we all know that globalization created a connectedness of the businesses, markets, people, and information across the world. So that is a major shift from globalization to deglobalization. Hence, the businesses will be needing to adhere their practices to the deglobalization trends. After discussing this social polarization example, I'll be moving to the technological advancement around the world. The price of the Zoom, one technological app, is skyrocketing in previous months. And you will be seeing the virtual platforms are being welcomed by every country. I want to take here one example of the Belt Road Initiative of China, in which China invested in almost 70 countries around the world. And major investments were based on the outward foreign direct investment. And that investment was mainly in the infrastructural projects. But now what is the trend? Those all projects are on the verge of failure because physical proximity and physical connectivity is not possible. Hence, how these companies will survive in the international business environment? According to the scholars and the academicians, there is only one way, that is the cyber connectivity. Hence, the companies will be investing in the projects that are based on the network. On the basis of the technological proximity, they can ensure their profits and the revenues in the coming time. One another example I'll be giving here, the paperless money. Even before the outbreak of COVID-19, most of the economic transactions are held in the paperless form, that is the virtual money. MNCs like Facebook Libra, Tencent, Alibaba will be benefiting from this trend, and many more. Studying international economic environment is the foremost thing when analyzing the international business environment, because the economical aspects are supposed to be analyzed in detail. 2008 global financial crisis that started in United States of America, but its contagious effect was visible in every economy that was associated with it. After 2008, in 3 to 4 years, its effect was severe on the economies like Italy, Portugal, Greece, and Spain. And that's why these economies were called with the name pigs economies. They could not survive well after the financial crisis. And even in 2016, the countries were struggling with the economic growth. After 2016, the situations were getting better, but in 2019, again, the economic growth rates became low. Almost three-fourths of the countries having the negative growth rates. According to the latest projections of International Monetary Fund, the growth rate of India will be minus 4.5% in coming year. And it is the same with the other emerging markets like Germany, China, and Mexico. Hence, the companies need to understand the economical aspects if they want to survive better in the marketplace. World economic environment is very volatile, and this COVID-19 outbreak has impacted it very badly. Now the question arises how the shape of recovery will be, whether it will be V shape, W shape, or U shape. Hence, it is a topic of discussion among the economic analysts and the academicians around the world. Cannot flourish in isolation. They can flourish only when they are integrated. Though deglobalization is the emerging trend, but the countries need to integrate themselves with the other countries. And what is the way? That is the trade. But now the question arises what we should trade, how much we need to trade, when we need to trade, and with whom we need to trade. So, these questions can be answered only with the help of international trade theories. We have the theories like revealed comparative advantage, absolute advantage, Axel-Holland theory, and the modern theories of the trade that are Paul Krugman theory, Michael Porter competitive advantage, double diamond theory. So these theories will be giving the answer of the questions that what are the advantageous or the competitive areas of the country and where we are at the competitive disadvantage. Once we know our competencies and the competitive disadvantages, we can ensure that what we should trade and what we should not trade, because all exports are not good, all imports are not bad. Here is one example of the exports that are made out of the non-renewable resources. Hence, these exports cannot be profitable at any cost. Another thing that is quite associated with the international trade pattern is the foreign investment. As we know that in the early 2000s, the foreign direct investment experienced a sharper growth. And the OFDI trend that was quite visible in the emerging economies. And several internationalization theories were in practice. One theory is the springboard theory that is widely discussed among the international practitioners. Hence, the way of internationalization can be merger and acquisitions, it can be the joint ventures, it can be the strategic alliances. UNCTAD estimates in the coming year there will be sharp reduction in the cross-border investments. Around 5,000 global firms will be having 40% reduction in the expected earnings. Hence, besides the international trade patterns, the investment patterns are supposed to be analyzed in detail. There are several changes in the foreign investment policies around the world. One example from India, where China has invested 1% in the HDFC Bank of India. Aftermath, Indian government has made it mandatory to take government approval. Countries around the world are taking the benefits of economic incentives like producing in low-income countries like China, selling in high-income countries like European Union, and taking the tax benefits in the countries like British Virgin Islands. Hence, there is a shift in the operations. There is a shift in production locations like from China to another Asian countries. The companies are coming out of China and they are shifting their operations to Thailand, Vietnam, and India. Recently, 56 countries shifted their manufacturing base from China to Asian economies, and only 3 countries got to place their manufacturing operations in India. Hence, it is a lesson for India to work on ease of doing business norms, on foreign investment policy norms. Hence, these are the things that are supposed to be discussed widely to analyze the international business environment.